So it is officially Trade Line Tuesday. Trade deadline at 4 p.m. also coincides with Election Day. This should be a pretty exciting day. Will the Carolina Panthers make any moves or make any trades? Let's talk about it today on the One Carolina Show. So there's been a few players on the Carolina Panthers roster that have been linked to some other teams on this trade deadline Tuesday. One of those names being Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen's been linked to teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sure there's others out there that will probably use his services, especially going down the stretch. Teams like Buffalo, someone that could use a 1,000-yard slot receiver or just another option on your team to be able to create opportunities in space and in the zone, which he is excellent at. Tuned to 1,000 yards last season for us. Hadn't gone so well this season because of injury, but before that, you can see that Adam Thielen really hasn't lost a step with that play that he got hurt on a touchdown from Andy Dalton in the Raiders game. So I'm sure that there's going to be teams out there. Now, what kind of trade package or compensation that we'll receive from it, who knows? But a team like us that's rebuilding, especially with the type of draft that we just had, and salute to Dan Morgan for that, trade capital for us is a huge thing. Now, here's something I wouldn't necessarily want to see. I wouldn't want to see us make any moves, right? We've seen that over the past few years, whether it's getting guys like C.J. Henderson, Dan Arnold, in the offseason, or making, in-season trades like the C.J. Henderson trade. I don't necessarily want to give up any draft capital to be able to acquire somebody, and I know we didn't really, make good on the Deontay Johnson trade as much as we probably could have, but to see someone like Adam Thielen move on to a place where he could have an opportunity to compete for a championship, if that so happens to be available for him, I'd love to see that for him and for us to be able to get our young guys completely involved, completely bought in. I love the chemistry I'm seeing from guys like Jalen Coker and Bryce Young, Xavier Legette. There's guys on this team that need to really have those reps and develop and continue to do that. And so letting a guy like Adam Thielen walk will give you the opportunity to do so, which leads me to someone like Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders has been linked to a team like the Cowboys. I'm sure they could use his services. Who knows if he still has any left in the tank that looked like it was before we got him from Philadelphia, but I know it hadn't really worked out too well with us. They use him on a lot of weird, kind of like swing passes and, screens and things like that. Not really a power back, and I'm not sure that that's what Dallas is necessarily looking for, but I'm sure they could use his help on some, in some form or fashion. For us, it hadn't really worked out, but I hope for that brother that he goes somewhere where it could work out, because I really would like to see Brooks. I think Jonathan Brooks and Chuba Hubbard, that's going to be a dynamic duo moving forward, and I look forward to seeing him getting, reacclimated into playing football coming off of that ACL injury. And maybe I might even see him in the Giants game coming up this Sunday in Germany, so who knows. And then the last one, I would say Bryce Young. Now, I'll be honest with you, this would be crazy to me. I don't see a scenario where they trade Bryce Young. It makes no sense to trade a guy, even though these rumors are out there. Obviously with Bryce's play early in the season, it looks like there might be some chemistry issues between him and Dave Canales. I personally believe Dave Canales should work that out, because Bryce showed the benching and showed with the, weapons that we have now, there is some chemistry building there. There were a few key drops that could have really broke that Saints game open, and you just see like him getting more comfortable inside the offense, more comfortable with these receivers. And having a young quarterback in continuity, which is something that this franchise has not had really at all in the past, 6-7 years, is having that consistency at play calling. We had Matt Rule. Joe Brady didn't, work out, so he was gone pretty quickly. I just don't want to see anything like that happen. I don't want to see Brad Izzett get bounced. I don't want to see, Dave Canales get bounced after a year. But I do think it's important for them to stake their claim with Bryce Young or some young quarterback. Like, I just can't see a scenario where Andy Dalton is really your option moving forward. Now, he might give you the best chance to win, or at least that's the case now. But in my opinion, I think that you roll with Bryce for the rest of the season. And this trade nonsense, man, like I'm not for it. But if they choose to do that, man, I'm sure that, obviously we'll all react to it. It won't be the best reaction in the world, I'll just be honest with you. But, we'll see what happens moving forward. But tell me what you think. Do you think that they should make some moves, bring some people in? I love what I'm seeing from guys like Damani Richardson. I think this is a young team movement. Some of these guys, even like, guys like Jadeveon Clowney could potentially get an opportunity to go somewhere back to Baltimore where he had a stellar season last year. A guy like J.C. Horn. I don't think you should trade J.C. Horn, but his name is floating out there as well. Someone who could bring some pretty high draft capital. I believe you keep young guys like that, develop those guys, pay him, pay Chuba, and create a nucleus that we can build off of moving forward as opposed to just chasing the carrot all the time. But let me know what you think below. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. This is John Farmer from the One Carolina Show. Make sure you go out and vote. Keep pounding.